Next what we're going to do is we're going to look at determining whether an equation represents a function. So in our first equation we have x squared plus y is equal to 4, and the other one's x squared plus y squared is equal to 4. So we're going to use the same kind of concept where if you plug in one x, it can only be paired with one y. And you can do this in multiple ways, but probably the easiest way to determine if an equation represents a function is get y by itself. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and subtract x squared from both sides. When I do that, I get y is equal to negative x squared plus 4. So now the concept is if I plug in different x values, how many y values will I get? Well, if I plug in 0 for x, I get 0 plus 4, I get an answer of 4. If I plug in 4, I get, let's see, that'd be negative 16, so I get negative 8. Okay, so just kidding, negative 12. Anyway, no matter what I plug in, if I plug in an x value, I'm only going to get one y value out. When you square a number, then multiply it by negative 1, you get one answer when you add 4 to it. So therefore, this is a function. Now, if you look at the other one, to get y by itself, I would subtract x squared from both sides, and I would get y squared is equal to negative x squared plus 4. So right now, this part and this part looks very similar to what we had before, but I'm not done solving for y. I need to take the square root of each part. So when I do that, I will get y is equal to, the key is whenever I take the square root, my answer is plus or minus. So it'll look a little something like this. Well, now when I plug something in, like say 0, when I plug in 0, that'll give me 0 plus 4 is 4, the square root of 4 is 2, but I get plus or minus 2. So that x value of 0 will give me positive and negative 2 as a y value. So therefore, as you can see, I get two answers for the same x. So this is not a function. And that's function notation right there, f of x. We use that when we're talking about functions instead of using y. So hopefully you can see a little bit of a trend, and I'll give you a little bit of some advice. If you notice, if y's exponent is odd, which in this case it's 1, then it should be a function. But however, if you have an even exponent for y, then it should not be a function. So that might help you out a little bit. You can't always use that method, but for most of these it'll work. One other thing that I know is that if you're dealing with this, where you have something like the absolute value of y is x plus 2. So if I plug in something like 0, if you plug in 0 for x, you get 0 plus 2 is 2. Well, the absolute value of y would be equal to 2. Well, like in our last section, you would see, well, that could be a positive 2 or negative 2. So just keep a little eye on it, and hopefully you'll kind of see some patterns as you guys practice.